What's going on, guys? I'm Tyler, and in continuing my series of Disney movie reviews, I'm here to let you know that The Jungle Book is no perfect movie. And as the majority of you know, The Jungle Book is about Mowgli, a young boy raised by wolves in the jungles of India. But when a man-eating tiger named Shere Khan comes back, it's up to a panther named Bagheera to take Mowgli back to civilization against his own will. But along the way, the boy becomes best friends with Baloo the bear, played by Phil Harris, and it becomes harder for him to say goodbye to his home, even though it gets more and more dangerous the more he goes on this journey. And this was made in that time period from the early 60s to the late 70s, where every Disney movie was photocopying sketches of the characters onto celluloid as opposed to painting them on celluloid. And you know what? I feel like The Jungle Book was the one that really utilized this technique the best because it takes place in the jungle where everything is beautiful and dirty at the same time. And they accomplished this by drawing the characters as sketches, but the backgrounds are all beautifully and brightly colored in paint. And it really complements that feeling of being beautiful and dirty at the same time. The only real problem with the animation is that sometimes they do reuse the exact same character movements just in different settings. Like Mowgli will make the exact same shrug or throw the exact same stick, just at a different angle or in a different location, and it gets pretty noticeable over time. I'm not sure why the director was such a big fan of that, but it doesn't really change the fact that the animation is still really fast and fluid and adds to the energy of the movie. As I said in my Mr. Toad review, it does steal the King Louie fight from the Mr. Toad climax, but it still fits in with the story, and it still leads to a really good slapstick fight. The voice acting and the characters go together so seamlessly. You can tell that the actors were adding their own personality traits to these characters, especially Phil Harris as Baloo. Dude completely owned every scene that he was in, and I actually found out that dude really did improvise the majority of his lines, which really fits this smooth and laid-back nature that Baloo has, where he doesn't know what lies ahead of him in life, but he lets it come at him anyways, because it will deal him some good fortune in ways that he cannot see coming. And for him, it's that friendship with Mowgli. And as the two of them grow closer to each other, you can tell it becomes a lot harder for him to accept the fact that he'll have to say goodbye to his friend eventually just because of all the dangerous shit that keeps happening. Sterling Holloway's soft but still high-pitched voice makes Kaa seem really pathetic in a comedic way. The pratfalls that he takes because of how long he is as a snake, as repetitive as they are so fast-paced and have a great deal of pain in them that you just can't help but smile and laugh at him just for never really learning from his own mistakes. George Sanders as Shere Khan, even though he only has a few scenes, was an excellent Disney villain. I love how sophisticated and polite he is towards his own prey, almost as if he knows for a fact that he's going to succeed, so he might as well do it with honor and dignity. And it really actually makes him a little unpredictable when he does become very fearsome and violent, where he just switches from being so mild-mannered to just about to pounce on you and kill you. And at the risk of possibly pissing a couple people off, I really enjoyed Louis Prima as King Louie. He had a lot of fast-paced charisma to him, his rhythm and his singing was really top-notch, and him alone just made the I Want to Be Like You sequence one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. Speaking of which, the songs by the Sherman Brothers in this movie are some of the best they've ever done, and that's really saying quite a bit. Almost everybody knows Bare Necessities, and for good reason. It has such a smooth but calm rhythm. Phil Harris's singing adds a lot of charisma to it. What people don't know is that this was the one song that wasn't actually written by the Sherman Brothers. It was originally for a darker original draft of the movie, but when the brothers came on, they saw the song and it's just like, can we keep it in? Because this is some really good stuff. Props to them for doing that. And there are so many other songs that seem like filler, but they still have a decent amount of charm and whimsical energy to it. The Colonel Hoffy March, as pointless as it is, still has a catchy beat to it that made me bop my head once in a while. I Want to Be Like You, as I said before, has so much fast-paced rhythm to it. The jazz music was so well done. It was really hard not to tap my feet to it. And That's What Friends Are For was sung kind of like a barbershop quartet, and that's what made it stand out from the other songs in the movie. And it also had some charm to it. It made us really latch on to these vulture characters, even though it's the only scene that they have. You genuinely believe that even though they eat dead animals, it's just their way of surviving. They don't know who their prey was, and when they meet them, they're willing to latch onto them and try to be friendly with them. And that was a rare feat. That's a rare feature, but I like that. The main problem that I had with the movie kind of centered around Mowgli's arc because it's a little hit and miss. I didn't find him too annoying, even though he keeps persistently asking to stay in the jungle, which you genuinely believe is a bad thing because he gets into trouble so many times. He's basically a damsel throughout the majority of the movie, and whenever he does something on its own, it's really just based on pure luck, which was completely the point. The fact that Bagheera found him as a baby and took him to this wolf pack who were eager to accept him, that was a stroke of luck in it on its own. And because this movie has a road trip movie structure, the more he visits each different society within the jungle and they disapprove either because he's a man, either because man treats the jungle so poorly or because man has so many features that they don't have but they want, you genuinely believe that the jungle is not really a safe place for Mowgli in this adaptation of the book. Because I'll be honest, I prefer the way the remake handled Mowgli's arc and how he learned to accept his strengths and his weaknesses and his differences from the other jungle animals. That was one thing about the remake that really stood out. Probably the thing that stood out in the remake. Because in this movie, you don't genuinely believe that he learns from his mistakes. He's a typical stubborn kid, and sometimes it's entertaining, but sometimes it isn't. And if anything, the one reason he would want to go to the man village, which I am going to spoil the ending, I don't think I'm giving that much away. I feel like it's been long enough. The fact that he goes to the man village just because he sees a girl for the first time and gets his first boner, that's a great thing for a character to learn. That's real mature and strong and complex character development there. But that's really all I got. The Jungle Book was a childhood favorite of mine, and I'm happy to say that this is still a ton of fun to watch. The songs are so catchy, the jazz music was so well done, the characters are really likable, and the voice actors add a lot of charm to them. And as far as sketchy animation goes, I feel like this was the Disney movie that did it best. So for all those reasons, I'm going to give The Jungle Book a 4 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. If you have seen The Jungle Book, you probably already have. Let me know in the comments below anyways what you thought of it. And also let me know your thoughts on the remake, because truthfully, I haven't actually seen it since theaters, but it still sticks with me, the differences that really work about that remake. But regardless, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to stay tuned for more Disney reviews, and be sure to like and subscribe. Take care.